You have to forgive me. I know I can get through this talk, but you just have to be you have to be patient with me. I'm going to talk about an idea that I've been thinking about for a long time, called the poorest city. And maybe I can explain it concretely in the following way. Recently, I tried to buy an iPhone in Nehru Place, an open-air electronics market in Delhi, where goods that happen to have fallen off a truck are sold for 30%, 40%, or 70% discounts, whatever cash you have handy. My iPhone turned out to be a damaged stud, but I didn't really care. The experience of going to Nehru Place was eye-opening. I'll show you another picture of it. It's a completely porous spot in the city. People of all castes, classes, races, and religions coming and going, doing deals on phones or gossiping about the small tech startups in the low offices around the square. That's above. You can see on the second floors and above. You can also worship at a small shrine if you're so minded, or find a sari, or just lounge about drinking tea. Nehru Place is every urbanist's dream, intense, mixed, complex. If it's the sort of place we want to make, it's not, however, the sort of space most cities are building. Instead, the dominant forms of urban growth are monofunctional, like shopping centers where you are welcome to shop, but there's no place to pray. These sorts of places tend to be isolated in space, as in the office campuses built on the edge of cities, or towers in a city's center, which, as in London's current crop of architectural monsters, I say no more, are sealed off at the base from their surroundings. Can I remark? It's amazing to walk among these spaces. You can't get into any of them. They're all sealed. They're glass boxes. You can look inside, but it's not for you. It's not just evil developers, however, who want things this way. The most popular form of residential housing worldwide is the gated community. Is it worth trying to turn the dream of the poorest city into a pervasive reality? I wondered in Nehru Place about the social side of this question, since Indian cities have been swept from time to time by waves of ethnic and religious violence. Could porous places tamp down that threat by mixing people together in everyday activities? Evidence from Western cities answers both yes and no. In Dresden, last year, Pegida demonstrations against the Muslim presence in Germany, for instance. In that, Pegida argued that Muslim culture is alien to Western values. This argument was turned out to be made by people in Pegida who don't live anywhere near Muslims in the city, indeed who know no Muslims. So they're completely separated. The American social scientist Robert Putnam adds a seemingly contradictory, ironic twist to the separation in space of different social groups. In a study of several cities, his researchers found that the further away white Americans live from African Americans, the more tolerant the whites are. That is, the closer you are, the more intolerant. So these are two contrary facts. They don't fit together. It's yes or no. Against this logic of separation stands Paris. The Islamic banlieue of Paris are separated from the center by the Ceinture, the ever-clogged ring road around the inner city. And so too in Brussels' Molenbeek district, from which many of the terrorists come. It's a disconnected island in the city. As the sociologist William Julius Wilson has shown, such physical islands breed an inward-looking mentality in which fantasy about others takes the place of fact bred of actual contact. As true, Wilson argues, of the black ghetto as it is of Christian Pegida. Now I have to say about this that I'm deeply uncomfortable about debates over separation and inclusion, which move almost seamlessly to citing violent, extreme behavior as evidence for or against. This is just wrong socially, which is why Nehru Place is a better place to think about inclusion than Molenbeek. Every day, people are going about their business with others unlike themselves, people they don't know, perhaps people they don't like. There is what might be called the democracy of crime here, as Hindus and Muslims both sell illegal electronics. A wave of violence would clear off customers for both. Getting along in this kind of environment isn't particular to India or to open-air markets. Numerous studies show that in offices or factories, that adults of different religions and races work perfectly well together, and the reason is not far to seek. I want to explain this. I've just got to have more of this water. I know I'm going to get there. Hold on. Just bear with me for a second. Work is not about affirming your identity. It's about getting things done. The complexity of city life tends, in fact, to breed many identities for its citizens, as workers, but also as spectators at sports events, as parents concerned about schooling or patients suffering from NHS cuts. Urban identities are porous in the sense that we are always going in and out of lots of different experiences in different places with people we don't know in the course of a single day. When pundits opine on the difficulty of difference, they flatten identity into a single image, just one experience. The modern economy can then flatten identity when it sells people on the idea of the gated, homogeneous community as safe, which is not true in fact, or build shopping centers only for shopping, or constructs office campuses and towers whose workers are sealed off from the city. So this is a problem for this. This is a debate about purified identity. It's not a debate which makes any sense about work, nor about forms of leisure, where the problem of difference and integration just doesn't arrive. It's, as Suketu says, it's a question about the meaning of home. And the meaning of home is synonymous with a kind of homogenizing of identity. You can see where I'm going. In order to make the city more tolerant, we should have a less strong identification with home. We should learn how to use the city and live in the city in a more impersonal way. It's why I've argued against the many, many projects that seek to strengthen community. That's a way of strengthening and flattening home. We belong here, even if the we is very many different people. It's still saying this is a particular place, and this is with the place with which I identify. Now, I want to just say for a bit, I hope I haven't talked too long.
You're fine, Richard.
Okay, if the public comes to demand it, urbanists can easily design a porous city on the model of Nehru Place. And indeed, many of the architects and planners at the Urban Age events now unfolding in London have made proposals to porosify the city. I'm just going to show you very briefly what that means.